So, hi everyone. I didn't have chance to say hi to you there in the lobby, but I see a lot of familiar faces, and new faces. It's always exciting. So, my goal for this session is to show you Sitefinity in action. So, those guys were showing you just slides, stories, which are really great stories, but I want to give you context of it. Want to give you a quick overview of how Sitefinity actually looks. I know some of you have seen it, but some may not. And for everyone, I want to show Sitefinity from a different angle. I want to show Sitefinity in the context of what George said about the aspirations we had as a vendor creating this content management system. So you can see our perspective on the world and what kinds of improvement we want to introduce with Sitefinity. First, few words about me. I'm working in the consultants team in Sitefinity, and I tend to speak fast. I'll try to slow it down because I have accent, which might get you out of track. So let me know if I go too fast. And now, speaking of the goal for today's session, let me start presenting. Okay. All right. Tension is rising, and now we can kick off. So so those are the aspects which George mentioned. Those are the aspirations we had as a vendor when creating the Sitefinity. So of course this concept has evolved through the years. You can imagine for 8 years the landscape changed significantly. So we try to adapt, we try to see where the market would go so we can provide the right solutions in the right time. And the current aspirations, if we have to group them together into our main drivers, the pillars of our product vision, George talked about it. That has been item number 1, is the enjoyable user experience and the power of context. A second one is the advanced customer analytics, cross-channel customer experience delivery. I will speak on those items, but because this session is focused really on the piece of creating content, promoting content, getting it from your mind in the right timing to the market. That's nice. All right. So I'll respect the clock. Nobody can, nobody can ignore the time. Okay. Round 12. Let's start. So what I want to talk about is that, from one side we see the content editors, the marketeers creating the content. On the other, so they want to create the powerful content to engage with the audience. And on the other side, you want to use this content to really measure its, return on investment, sort of say, to really see how efficient the content was. And today I'm going to focus really in this 40-minute session on how the actual process of creating content goes. And then I'll give the floor to Ivailo, who will show you the second piece, which is the how we use the data of the effectiveness of this content, how we use the content to personally engage with the audience in a more personalized communication. So today, if we have those 3 pillars, my role will be to show you those 3, which is really how we make the experience of creating content really productive and enjoyable for the business users of Sitefinity, how we use this content across channels. So, the website is just one digital asset, and there are many more. And I want to show you also how you can repurpose this content, not just across multiple channels, but across the globe in different localized regional strategies. So that's it. And let's start with the first item, the enjoyable user experience and the power of context. It sounds good, but what do we mean by that? It's really about the items you see here. Those are just the solutions we use to make this happen. What we have seen through the years is that, the amount of content has, enlarged a lot. There's more and more content all around the web. So it's very important now not just to deliver content, but to deliver a powerful content. A content which engages the audience, which gives the experience we need to provide to the customers, the website users. And how this happened? Okay, let's stay here. And what we mean by that is that when we create this content, users who are creating it need to be focused on the right task. So instead of being focused on how should I create this content, what do I need to click, they need to think about the big picture. So we want to save them time in really understanding how to promote content. So the users nowadays expect a really nice UI. And they use it every day on their smartphones and some applications when they go home or during work. So they have the same expectations towards the applications they use in their day-to-day job. And we wanted Sitefinity to become part of this, let's say, enjoyable user experience platform. So we know that if the people are confident and happy with the system they use, this would mean that they would be more engaged and creative rather than being a turn-off for them. And this would prevent them from our goal, which we want to fulfill, of really unleashing the power of the business users of the CMS to create content. So let me show how this works. So enough talking. Let me try to drag a website we have. So joy, it's very important for the users. And what you see here is a website you can find everywhere. It's a demo website. You can play with it. And the first thing is to make it enjoyable, we need to make it productive. And the first thing we can see I'm already logged in is the Sitefinity Inline Editing. That's a way for users to edit the content as they browse the website within the context of the changes they want to do. So rather than traditional approach in which they have a Excel-like UI to edit the content, we wanted to give them the context of the use of this content. So that's the home page, which means that now I can click anywhere. I can change images if I have the permissions, of course. But if I go here, for instance, I can use this image and change the content or something like that. So we can do this. We can change all the things we have access to and really edit those pieces of content. So that's one of the items we thought would really match our picture of making contextual user experience in managing the content on the web asset. Another item which I want to show is the actual backend, how it feels to create content. So I'm going into the dashboard of Sitefinity, and that's the main page in which we can access a lot of things. And now I'm going to the pages section where we can see the list of all the pages. And I'm going to create one for you. So the story, just to give you a context of the situation I'm trying to reproduce in this demo scenario, excuse me. Let's say that this website, which I've showed just a second ago, I'll open it again. It's a traditional company which has a retail business of selling laptops to end users. And George was talking about adapting to new strategies. And in the context of the quantum website selling computers and other supplies, the story we want to tell today is that we see more opportunities, owners of the quantum store, in reaching more business-to-business kind of customers. So we want now to target, instead of the retail users, gamers, people who like their personal laptops, we want to target organizations so they can become our corporate customers. So that's something important I wanted to share with you. And now we don't have the content to promote this strategy. So we want to create something to really target those business users. And that's why I want to create a page which speaks to the business users only. And I'm going to name it Enterprise Security, because we know organizations or Fusion Security, they really want to, we know this is the language they would use, and we want to engage with them. All right. And those are the options we can see in the context of creating a page. That's the power of the context. So we can decide to put the page at a specific level in our sitemap. We can decide to change the URL for SEO purposes. So I can completely make this URL custom one. So I can say something like, that's a new story, and I want to have the URL here. We can decide to hide the page from the navigation. We have a lot of options. Template, that's something very important. You have seen a lot of success stories. They all look different, and they all are based on templates. So in my case, the IT guys from the company have prepared different templates for me as a Quantum user, and I would use the story page, which is used for stories. And I'm going to create this page and add content in it. So we can see we have this page with some context which helps me. For instance, I already have some predefined widgets which I can start edit. It's all about drag and drop here. So I want to create this story. So I know that there are already pieces of content. So let me just use it. First, I want to upload an image for this story page. And I think I will upload a new one. Yeah. I think that was the image I want to use. I will select the library. Just upload it there in our digital assets repository. And I can just upload the image. Okay, that's done. And we have our image. Now, because that's a story page, we are enforced here to edit the content block as well. So I can do all sorts of things, but I'll just select already existing content. And one of the stories we want to tell is that bring your own device policies in organizations use imposes security risks. And we want to really communicate this message to our business users. So I'm going to select a predefined story headline, which was prepared by the marketeers. So I'm just going to click Save Changes, and I already reused content created for me. Now we have this zone, and I'm the author of it. One of the amazing things in Sitefinity, which it's one of the first features, but still becomes the most useful ones, is really this drag and drop UI of the pages, in which we can have a single page template and make it really flexible. So what you see, it's a page template, and I use it to create a page with items such as logo, navigation to keep the brand consistency. But I also have this freedom with instructional text saying, main content zone, put the story here. So I'll just do it. I think I would use this layout, drop it here. So it's three parts to one, but I can change this if I want to and make it different. So we have a lot of freedom to create complex layout here. And let's drag a few widgets in it. You've already seen how it works. On the right-hand side, in the content mode here, we have the widgets which display the content. And the layout section gives us freedom of how this would look in terms of visual structure. So I'll go to content mode because I think that's the structure I want to use. And I think that for this story, I want to use a piece of content which I'm going to author straight on the page. Here I want to display a special link to an event which is for a risk-related conference, which we want to put in focus of the users. So let's do this as well. And you can see that as I drag different widgets, they give me different functionalities, but they look the same. When I click the edit button, this unlocks all the options for that widget. And I think, just give me a second. I already have a text which I want to use. It's here. So we speak about that bring your own device policies, not safe, so people need to think twice before using it. And those are some of the things we can do. We can insert images from the existing images. So we can select this image, put alignment. We inherit all the SEO things such as alternative text. We can delete it if we don't want it. That's fine. If you want to create a link to a special page, let's say the National Bureau of IT Security, we can just select the text. Select a hyperlink and just select a page from the website. I'll just use it or use an email. So we have all the things we would expect having, and it's really that easy to use those kind of things. We can insert links to documents, change the text, heading 2, heading 1, all sorts of options. So we have the text in place. Also, I want to point the users to the special event. So let's use it. And again, I click the edit options. This unlocks all the options. So I want to point the users to a specific single event. So I go to single event, one event. I think it was called Risky Business or something. All right. There's actually such a conference. I didn't make it up. And we would use a special template, again, prepared by the IT department available to us, which just is a visual representation of the content we were creating. So that's the power, because we focus on the content and we just use a visual representation structure. And it's a detailed teaser, which gives information about the event, allows us to register for it. And last but not least, I think there are some relevant stories which we have already created. And this time, instead of altering content, I would just reuse existing content. So I have a news widget here. So it pulls all the news items. Again, clicking edit unlocks all the options. So I can publish filter events by categories if you have categorized the content. But I'll just do a manual selection here. So it's the anti-theft termination and how to prevent identity theft in your business. We have those items. I can reorder them. Why not? I'm done with this. And I can click Save. Yeah. But I think we can do one final change. Again, clicking Edit Options as users. And we want to choose from the predefined. So we're going to sort them by set manually. And we're going to use this representation. That's it. By selecting this, we should expect them to look different in a teaser list mode. And then another last piece I want to configure is that when the users click this link, instead of opening the detail page here, I want to redirect them to existing page, which should be the news page. OK, easy as that. Click Save. And now we have them in a more appealing way. So from here, we can preview and make sure the page would look good for our conversations. We want to engage the organizations to become our Quantum Store customers. And that's really the process of delivering content as non-technical user. As you can see, all the things George was talking about, like independence of the content editors, productiveness, that is really the the proof that he was right in that, because really that's what we want to achieve. And now going back to the slides, I want to show the second pillar, which is repurposing the content across multiple channels. We know that the website is just one digital asset. Yeah, it's the main one, but there are many other channels which organizations can communicate with their customers. So you have a website which is hit by the computers and other devices, but you need to handle mobile access, email marketing. There are many ways to reach customers. So we wanted to make sure we can engage with the customers on all channels: social media, mobile apps, mobile sites. So let me show you more on this. Because it's very important to speak with your customers on many channels. And another important question is, if you speak with the customers on many channels, you need to be aware of, in which channel, which customer are you talking to, so you can take him from one channel and continue the same conversation in a separate channel. And that's something which Ivailo should show you as part of the digital experience cloud. But now I'll focus just on how we can repurpose the content on many channels. So going back here to our demo website, sorry about this, I want to show how the website we've built is already enabled for smartphones and tablets. So it's the same website, but we have made it responsive. So it looks good on different devices. so they don't have to. So we were creating one website, but because of the design rules in the template and the responsive features in Sitefinity, this became a responsive website. So now we can handle mobile channels. Another thing, okay, we want to make this page shareable so we can have more hits. So we can easily make this available for social sharing. We have different social sharing capabilities available to users. So we can decide, okay, that's a professional page, probably this is not appropriate. Probably we'll just use LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and email. And we are done. And again, click Edit button unlocks all the options, select a template which changes the way this would look. Easy as that. Okay. Okay, I think we're done. Now I can just publish the page. Another thing we can have is the Sitefinity email marketing, in which we can use the same content and really send it across email blast. So we can go to a given message template, just select this one, create a new template again, and we can reuse the same pieces of content we have created. So that's the power. So it's the same digital asset, but I can go here to the content block and just deliver a message, probably use the same news items. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that from the same content repository, you can repurpose it on multiple channels. So that's how we want to meet this challenge. So any questions up to this point? No? All right. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but this gives me a great opportunity to move to the third item of the three main stories we wanted to tell today. So going back to the slide, it's really how we enable the same content to be used not just across many channels, but in a different global scenario. So through the years, we have seen that organizations, customers using Sitefinity and partners implementing Sitefinity projects have an increasing need of a robust tool which allows the digital strategy to be used in a global scale, in a more enterprise scenarios with many markets, many customers, many regions. And the challenge here is that organizations want a one point of maintenance in which they can use the same message, the same brand, look and feel, and ideas across the globe, so they can have a consistent look and feel and messaging. But also organizations wanted to allow regional, country-specific departments to be able to have a localized approach, localized flavor. So in that sense, I wanted to show the pieces in Sitefinity which allow this to happen. So our vision is that content should be used not just across many channels, but across many languages, across many cultures, across many websites. And this is the item I want to show you today, is the MultiSite Management capability of Sitefinity. And it's the same website we were using up to this point, but it also has a connection to other websites, which means that the same page we have created, we can make it available, or just pieces of it, to other websites. So if we go to manage sites, now we can see different websites we manage. So we have the Quantum Retail portal, we have the Quantum main site, we have a reseller template, but we can easily create a new website which is a B2B portal and reuse the content from there. So we can say, okay, that's a B2B portal. We target English and Spanish-speaking markets, but we have seen that we have a lot of business users from the French-speaking countries. So we can add a French language. Probably Chinese, it doesn't matter. Sitefinity allow organizations to have a different localized approach, so they can use the same language, the same content on many languages, of course, translated. And the idea is that they have the freedom for all of those websites to use different cultures, different languages. So let's create the B2B portal.
I just want to mention, Peter, while you create the portal, that these different websites can be even hosted in actually different regions. So, for example, the Chinese website can be hosted in China, while the French can be hosted in France. And for this, we use the site sync, which can sync a whole website from one instance to another instance.
Yeah. And here, when it comes to, you know, the culture-specific strategy we have, URL is very important. So you can choose any URL. You can choose top-level domain, different subdomain, or different folder. So I will use folder because it's, for me, it will be easier to create it. And I can create an empty website or just duplicate everything we have from the Quantum and, you know, just reuse the same content. So we can easily do that. Let's do it. And here is where we can say, OK, I want this website to have news, access to the news module. So we can reuse business functionalities. So we can say, all right, I want this website, Quantum, to have its own news, but I also want to make the news of the default website available to this website. So we can go to the libraries and say, hey, guys, for the B2B portal, you wouldn't have your own rich media repository. You would just use the central repository. Because in our marketing department of the Quantum, we spread the digital assets top bottom. So we would say you would use only the images we send you. So we would use this approach and just click create this website. OK. Let's see, it should be created despite the error message. OK.
It seems that you have put the same URL that you already use.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe change the URL.
OK, it didn't complete. Anyways, what I want to show is that when we have such a website, we can go to, let's say, the Axial website, which I created as well, and go to the news page. All right. And now the area is that we can say, OK, I want you to show the news from the default website. So the idea is that now we have the power to reuse the content which, you know, the headquarters provided to us, but we can create also our own news items. In the very same way, we can reuse templates, we can reuse look and feels. So, you know, it's a cliche, but with the great power comes great responsibility. That's why in such scenarios, it's very important to be able to control which features are available to which site users. So, you know, imagine the situation in which somebody from the local market of, let's say, country-specific market changes the entire, let's say, company mission statement by accident. This shouldn't happen, right? That's why you can control on a site level who is able to do what. And if we go to, let's say, news, I just want to show you how this works. If we go to permissions, everything has permission. So for each of the data sources, for each of the websites, we can say which users are allowed to view, create, edit, delete. So it's very important to have advanced workflow scenarios. Sitefinity supports that. To have detailed granular permissions of who is able to do what. You have that as well. Because when you have the power of different sites and users using the same content, security becomes a concern. Another thing is that the multilingual support, I told you, it's very easy to add new languages. George mentioned we are adding connections to translation services.
I didn't mention it.
OK, you should.
I'll mention it later.
OK, good.
Yeah.
And the final piece I want to show today is the other thing actually George mentioned about SiteSync, the ability to have staging, production environments, and push one content from one site to another. That's also a challenge. But the way we solve it is with the staging and syncing module. And here we can see the quantum website I was playing with. I'll just click on it. Right. So it would show me all the items I have created, like the pages we can see. So we can see the enterprise page here. So that's the enterprise security page we have created. We can decide to sync it from this website to another website if you want to and make it available there. So that's in a nutshell some of the options Sitefinity offers to allow organizations to have a better global and at the same time localized presence. So really those are the things I wanted to show you today. And I think that really sums up the demo I have prepared for you. So now I think it's another good opportunity for questions. Things which you're wondering, are those available, are those not, and things like that. Yeah?
Hi, quick question in relation to the multiple language. How do you handle things like the cultural sensitivity? China is well noted for what it can and can't allow, and if you're enabling the multi-language to flow through from one site to another.
That's a very good question. So we allow the subcultures. So we support all the popular cultures. So if I go to, again, to the same interface, I would be able to easily answer you. So if I go to this website and add a new language or culture, if I type Chinese, and I can show all the cultures, not just, so it has the different variations of the culture. And you can add custom ones if needed. Yeah.
Sorry, Peter, can I just add? So I think there's two aspects to that. So there's the technical aspect of being able to choose the culture there. And then there's the other aspect of potentially if someone writes some content in the UK and then we're going to push that out into, onto a Chinese website. So I think that's where workflows would come in and as you're moving content from that originating area to those different sites, then that's where you maybe would look to implement some sort of check obviously at that point, so that you're not blandly just potentially putting something in English onto the Chinese site without considering that as you go.
Yeah.
Question. With regard to the marketing module, can you pull content from an external source, or does it have to come from the assets within Sitefinity?
Yeah, you can pull from many sources. There are JavaScript server-side SDKs. As far as Sitefinity is concerned, all the events are automatically being logged and sent there. So you don't have to, you just need to click the on button, the switch on button, that's it. For other external sources, you would need to create this connectivity, but we have the SDKs. So CRMs, other websites, yeah.
But we plan to actually provide a lot more connectors out of the box. So this is certainly on the roadmaps, right, Ivo?
Yeah, actually I'll share a bit later about all the systems that we are planning to integrate with even by the end of this year. So,
All right.
thanks.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Yeah.
You mentioned that you're trying to make a great user experience for the editing. Are you planning to do an app as well? Although your interface is responsive.
The app builder.
A mobile app for management.
Mobile app for building content.
Yeah.
Just for editing.
To be honest, the only reason why I didn't do it so far is that we didn't have enough feedback and requests out of this, because typing content on mobile phone is not something that is preferred by many users. But as soon as we see the need, we are going to do it. For now, we have though desktop client, so you can type content from the desktop and even without logging to the website.
Yeah.
We do not have anything. Actually, we do have.
Yeah, with the.
We do have.
Yeah.
So Sitefinity can generate mobile apps, and let's say that in this mobile app that is actually generated, you can say what kind of things you want to support. So creating content, editing content, deleting content, and so on. So if you choose to actually that this app should be able to create content, then the users can create content from mobile phones, but only the so-called dynamic content. So this is content that is defined by
Yeah, structured content. There is such an app. Yes. structured content, you can edit with this app generation, but it's pretty basic, so it gets the fields.
So to wrap up, it's possible. We haven't thought about it as a scenario in which specifically this app is for content generations, but it's possible. And it's available out of the box. If we change details like contacts, I might come back to you and provide you some.
I'll tell you why I'm asking this question.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're talking about marketing and marketers. And
Yeah.
more often than not, clients or IT staff clients don't necessarily have the capabilities in-house to do content publishing. And more often than not, they contract other companies to do that for them. And these companies are editors, journalists, and they quite often on the go. And
Yeah.
quite often now when we interview them, they do editing for a lot of different companies, and anything that's on the go, mobile, tablet, is generally preferable. And they now have a say as well on the content editing. So particularly I'm thinking about sports clients, or site earlier on.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
and others like travel, you'll have more blogging these days, and so
Yeah.
and more we're going towards that. So
Yeah.
I like the fact the interface is much more mobile friendly than say Sitecore or other platforms that I can run.
Yeah.
But I was wondering whether you plan to do potentially an app. You know, think about Tumblr, think about these apps
Yeah.
that are very easy.
Yeah.
Do you have any insights about which platforms should we support first if we decide to make such feature out of the box? So that content authoring on the go, so to say.
Not necessarily, but I think, for instance, you could think about maybe not providing support for all the administrative features you showed there. Like, for instance, it's quite complex to just show that.
Yeah, of course.
But say if you were, for say the news section, if you provided even a plugin to other apps that you can publish, like say Tumblr, for instance, you can use it, this and that to create draft polls from Twitter or whatever that is. But if you enable people maybe to do simple publishing through some apps for certain types of templates, that might be
Yeah.
it's just another.
I think that's the mobile app builder is doing. It's not probably that robust in a way that,
Yeah.
but it has all the create delete operations.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a good point.
Thanks for the question.
All right. So if you want, then after me showing how the creation of content and the experience happens within Sitefinity, now probably it's a viable part to show you how you can use this content and personalize the conversations with the audience. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks,
Thank
Peter.
You're welcome.